The present day society in our country is facing a great problem of social disorder. This disorder is mainly because of two things. One is competitive politicization, and the second thing is intellectual vacuum. I'm using this word intellectual vacuum because Indian society intellectuals are divided into two groups. One is basically driven by left ideology, and another is driven by the rightist political framework. When a group led by left ideology and the left fallen, these people have no alternative or narrative to create. The same way, the right wing is not able to grasp the root problems of a common man, which we can be elicited into a further framework of development program, leaving other things. Both the intellectuals, both left and right, there is a vacuum in their minds. That is what is intellectual vacuum. These two are mainly responsible for the disordered problems which Indian society is facing. I would like to analyze and present to you with all my ability and within my limited knowledge of reading. Competitive politicization refers to the process where political actors, special interest groups, and everyday citizens weaponize previously neutral social issues into high stakes. Us versus them. For everything, they are dragging it. Struggles to gain power, attention, or resources. This intense competition frequently degrades social cohesion, resulting in the widespread social disorder and civic fragmentation. Ultimately, society is becoming a fragmented society, a divided society, a divisive society, which is not good for the interests and the health of our country. Here, the intellectuals have to brood over and think further for an alternative narration which can compromise. See, human society may not be in a position to live without religion, but at the same time, religion alone cannot solve all the problems which the society and the lowest grade of the society are facing. Let us see the core drivers. Zero-sum status competition. When deeply the drivers of competitive politicization, zero-sum perceptions. When resources or rights are perceived as limited, disagreements turn into aggressive battles for dominance rather than collaborative problem solving. This is where the relationship between ruling and opposition, opposing for the sake of opposition, bringing out an alternative narrative just for the sake of unpopularizing the power centers, and at the same time the ruling party is also bringing out new narratives to unpopularize the opposition. Another important factor is socio-economic stresses. Rising inequalities and economic austerity create environments where groups feel deprived, fostering a have versus have not mentality that drives anti-establishment sentiment. Social networks, highly connected digital networks and social media algorithms accelerated polarization, pushing moderate opinions into deep divides. These deep divides are being done by the vested interest media and individualized just for the sake of glory, just for the sake of identity, just for the sake of recognition, creating a narrative which can harm the society and divide the society into deep divide, which is not good for the country. The impact on social order, erosion of cohesion, expressed prejudice based on political orientation often exceeds traditional racial and religious divides, damaging interpersonal relationships and community trust. Institutional distrust. As political identity dictates belief, even overriding factual objective data, the public begins to doubt the legitimacy of neutral expert driven institutions. Collective action and unrest. The transition from polarized opinions to mobilization occurs when people are convinced their in group is threatened or victimized, turning shared grievance into disruptive collective action. Shared grievance into disruptive and collective action. That is what is happening in the name of religion or a social group, giving a fatal blow to the cohesion. Psychological and structural context is also there for this problem. Researchers identify that too much activity of politicization is not just about having partisan views. It relies on motivated reasoning where individuals evaluate information in ways that uphold their in-group beliefs. For a deeper dive into the cognitive and social mechanics of collective identity and political power, struggles explore politicization meant for polarization or radicalization. This will not help the society. Hence, the great remedy or the great activity which the society has to undertake is intellectual discussion, intellectual research, and a collective cohesive thinking about the society and social disorder to find out a new alternative or a compromising alternative in order to move the country for the better level of the society. Otherwise, these inequalities may cause at any time a damage to the society. So let us see what is intellectual vacuum. Normally, an intellectual vacuum is described as a profound lack of deep thought, critical reasoning, or meaningful debate within a specific environment. Meaningful debate in a specific environment is the great collapse as on today in our society. Culture or field, the social disorder is spoiling the basic culture. It indicates a space where thoughtful leadership and serious ideas have been replaced by superficiality or ignorance. These two words I emphasize, these two are ruling the present day society. Superficiality or ignorance. Let us see what are the key manifestations involved in this. The concept can be broken down into few specific contexts and subtopics. In culture and society, it refers to a period or space lacking philosophical enlightenment, rigorous art or serious public discourse. When society focuses purely on entertainment or commerce, observers often note an intellectual vacuum. The art forms, whether it is cinema or any other medium, is not able to enlighten the people and enrich the character in our society. Instead, they are damaging their intellectual fabric and driving them to a corner of just mere entertainment and looking everything in a very casual fashion. And it has reached to the level of worshipping the artist rather than the art given by that artist. In education, academic life, used critical learning systems that prioritize very occasional and discussion oriented, enlightened discussions or a professional training over the pursuit of broad scholarship. Pursuit of broad scholarship has become almost very minimal in this organization if we analyze the educational institutions. The fundamental research, the base research about the society, inequalities, and all those concepts have gone out. Broad scholarship and critical inquiry in personal retirements are routine. It can describe an invisible drift away from high level mental stimulation occurring when a person stops facing daily intellectual challenges or when nobody asks for their ideas anymore. There are some intellectuals with well experienced think and concept, but who are asking them? Who are consulting them? Neither the government nor social organizations, nobody in the society bothers about them. So their valuable experience is not reaped properly by the society. That is also an important cause. So let us think that existence vacuum, a term coined by psychiatrist Viktor Frankl, describing an inner emptiness or total meaninglessness in one's life. I am using these words specifically with all emphasis, with a great desire that this must be debated by the intellectuals of this country. Inner emptiness or total meaningless. If these two phases enter into the life of the society, which will lead to disorder and ultimately it give a fatal result to the society. Power vacuum. The political or organizational equivalent referring to a dangerous absence of leaders. Dangerous absence of second line leadership, third line leadership. That intellectual leadership is missing in this country. Only the leadership is the leadership which is being described as efficient and great only when it wins the elections, but totally neglecting about their vision, their contribution to the society, contribution to the nation, onward, forward, movement of the economy, those things are totally neglected. People are also interested in instant coffee rather than a coffee brewing. Politicians are also interested in instant win, that's all. That is only their objective. These factors are result of intellectual vacuum in our society, as is causing a terrible politicization of everything, every movement of the leader, every word of the leader, by too much of social media interpretation, unnecessary, unwanted interpretations, and there are some interpretations which cannot be described beyond description of vulgarity. They are the indicators of the total today's disorder. This has to be brooded over, and this has to be well thought over by the intellectuals of this country. Thank you very much.